It's going to be, they're starting to work on it in the next 2 weeks. That'll be done by next summer. By this summer, we'll be using that. And the varsity team received new backpacks as well as new sweats. These are just a few of the things that we worked on this year. The soccer board will be starting to work on 2022 in the next few months. This past year was very different for the program. We're unsure on how things were going to play out, and we charged a much lower fee, and we really did not do any fundraising, and it showed. Our numbers are much lower this year. Next year is going to be a little different. We know families had some emotional and some financial issues, and we really wanted to respect that this year. Next year we'll take a little bit different approach, and for the returning players, you'll hear more about that later. A few special people I wish to thank. Maisie, who's been a part of the program for so long, and she's been our wonderful secretary. Maisie, where are you? Marion, who's our treasurer, because I have a hard time adding 2 plus 2. Where's Marion? Dawn Simmons, is Dawn in the house? She's been a team mom this year. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, but if it weren't for the team moms, I don't know where we'd be. Laura Kinnaman was the team mom for the girls. Maisie was once again that. We also had 5 photographers. Going to state championship will obviously be a highlight of your career. Graduation is not the end, it's certainly the beginning. So go out there, be bold, be courageous, and be yourself. Now I'm going to turn it over to our fabulous coaches. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awards, because we made it so far with state, it took us a while to get the awards ordered. So,
Rutledge, she has been all over it. She texts me probably 20 times. But she's been a great Booster Club president this year. She's really wanted to make the experience for all of our players in the program from both of her sons for 4 years, and so it's been very special getting to know her and be a part of their lives. Mrs. Parada is the same way. I have also coached both of her sons for 4 years each, and they're like family to me. So not having Maisie here next year is going to be very weird for me. I'm probably going to walk around lost a lot and be texting random parents like, "Will you do this for me?" Because normally it's what Maisie does. So she's been great. So thank you very much, Miss LeCompte, for running the social media. Sawyer Williams, Eden Flax. Josh Lee, Ben Barrett, Eshawn Salvey, Miguel Marino, Isaiah McDonald, I always just want to call him Zay, Carson Dendy, Ike Eisworth, Christian Emenecker, oh my god, he cut his hair, Raul Lickle, almost didn't even recognize him, Tyler Polino, and Ren Ludlow, and that's your JV boys. Next up, we're going to talk about the varsity boys, and I'll just say I've waited a long time for a season like this. This was something that we have been building for a very long time, and we're always competitive. It's the toughest region in the state in any classification in soccer, so it is very difficult on the boys teams at all the schools in the region every year to just fight through. You saw with our scores in our region games, we were winning games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And then we get and start playing other teams in the playoffs and we win 6-0, 7-1, 4-0. So it just shows you how tough this region is in boys varsity soccer. So it has been a challenge for them. Many of them were on the varsity team 3 years ago when they won 4 games. And it was a struggle every single night, and we had to battle. We battled with every single team that we played, but it was a challenge, and so the kids stuck with it. They kept working, and then this year it just kind of all came together. So the varsity boys this year, they went 16-3-1. 6-0 in region and won the region championship. First region title in school history for the boys. and was a massive accomplishment. So very, very proud of them for that. They broke a multitude of team records. I don't even, off the top of my head, I know we had the most clean sheets ever in a season, which was like 12 of our 20 games were clean sheets, which is unreal, which speaks highly of not just the goalkeeper, not just the defenders, but the team as a whole defending as a unit, because everybody's asked to defend, everybody's asked to, you know, come back and defend on corners, etc., and to keep 12 clean sheets, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. We had the most wins in a season by far. The most previously were 12, and this year we had 16. I'm trying to think what else. There were tons of records in there. But I'm so very proud of them. They worked every single day. Coming to practice every day was a joy because you knew that they were going to come out. Even like Mondays were sometimes a struggle. Out what is by far, in my opinion, the best coaching staff I've ever had at Johns Creek. I had Coach Grace, who has years and years of experience of being a varsity boys coach. He came to us from Shiloh High School, where he had been a varsity boys coach for a very long time. He'd also played in college, and he's been fantastic. Basically calming me down on a daily basis, which is a big ask. You know me very well. I'm very high strung, so he kept me calm and kept me level headed because he's right downstairs. So I'd go visit him every game day, and I'd walk in there and he'd have some positive words of encouragement for me. I'll introduce them all really quick. There's a lot of them. So CJ Wyborn, Cameron Gorse, Knox Odendahl, Justin O, Ben Sosa, Joe Villar, Amaya Hegde, Sam Beagle, Jamie Paredes, Julian Sahir, Ube, Joel Sanguinetti, Sahil, I'm not going to try the last name, Sahil Hingrani, Connor McElhaney, Tyler Polino, Max Sosa, Jack DeSanto is hiding back there, Walker Lecomte, Christian Emenecker, Ike Eisworth, Carson Dendy, hidden back there is Ishan Salvi and Ben Barrett, and that is your varsity. Put Cameron Gorse next to him. He looks very little. He was not afraid, not one bit, and he was going in hard the whole time. The players kept coming over to me and be like, "Man, this kid is nasty. Like, he's got to be on the varsity." I'm like, "Yeah, we're watching. We can see that. Thank you." And he didn't start the very first game, and that was just because we were trying to hold some of the stuff back from him. But the second he went into the game, changed the game. We ended up beating Peachtree Ridge for the first time in several years. And he is a phenomenal player. So our newcomer of the year this year is Julian Sahir. And so the Rock Award this year goes to Max Sosa. MVP this year is Noel Sanguinetti. 6 different kids, and it was very difficult to choose on this one. It was very difficult to choose on any award this year. But this one's going to go to a player that had actually never played center back before, ever in his life. He had never done it. I approached him in January looking at the roster, and I texted him and I said, "Hey, any chance you would be willing to try center back, because I think you would be phenomenal at it. You have this attitude that you and your brother both share, and his brother played for me for 4 years, and he had that same mentality. He refuses to let people beat him. He communicates all the time on the field. He is a leader. He's a class act. And so even though he was a little bit undersized to play the position, he could play the ball out of the back for us. He never backed down from a challenge, even against some of these center forwards that were very, very big. And so I'm incredibly proud of him for the way he adjusted. And then he won first team all region center back as well, and that is Jeremy Paredes. The next award is the Coaches Award. This goes to the person that just would do anything you ask of him, and this kind of out of nowhere. A lot of people didn't really even expect him to make it. Maybe even himself didn't even expect to make it. but he is Knox own. All right, we have several four-year lettermen standing up here, and this is part of the and they got to finish on an up, which is not always the case for every single senior. But our four-year lettermen this year are Maya Hegde, as previously mentioned, Knox Odendall, Justin O, who battled through an ankle injury, Jeremy Paredes, Joe Vilar, and Mr. CJ Wagner. I tried to nominate him for every single award the state would hand out. I think they handed it out to the wrong kid this year, even though he's one of your teammates on your club team. But the way in which he stepped up in every single game to take every single game over in the moment that it needed to be taken over. Whether it was scoring in the first 6 seconds against Chattahoochee to shut him up, whether it was scoring in the last 2 minutes against Cambridge to shut him up, because man, I don't like Cambridge very much. And then, yeah, so trust me, you beating them felt good because their boys coach was on the sideline at the same time. And then scoring in the first 3 minutes against River Ridge when we were 4th ranked in the state and they were 2nd ranked in the state, and we wanted that ranking to properly be ours. He just stepped up. I think he scored like 6 game-winning goals this season. He plays in the midfield, so he doesn't even have as many opportunities necessarily to score goals. Maybe a forward does, but I think he scored 16 this year, something like that, right? A bunch of goals.
And he said 19.
Had 8 assists. I mean, he was just a beast, and he should have been the state player of the year, in my opinion. There's no question about it. And I tweeted to Wofford the other day, and I said, you got a good one here. I don't think you understand how much you hit a home run with this recruit, because he's going to go in there and he's going to do big things. And then everybody else that didn't offer him is going to wonder what in the world were we thinking, because this kid's a beast. And everybody talks so highly of him. Everybody messaged me, even after the state championship game, they were like, man, who is that? Like all these coaches were like, who's that midfielder? I was like, it's Cameron Gorst. He is a monster, and he's been a monster for us all year. And I had the privilege of seeing him like grow up. He went from like a kid that was this big playing on my varsity, right, and leading us in assists as a freshman, right, largely to that man right there, the city right up there. They were the combination, the older Wyborn. And then I had a 2-year hiatus where I didn't have him, and then he came back a grown man and just absolutely dominated the competition. And so the MVP this year of the boys varsity soccer team came from and all the players, every single one of them down the bench, all stepped up in big moments. Whether it was Walker stepping up in the Sequoia game, when all of our right backs were just going down left and right, and he went in and shut down the best winger that Sequoia had. Whether it was Connor going in against North Atlanta and shutting down that bulldozer of a kid on North Atlanta. Everybody stepped up at different times and different moments throughout the season, so I'm really, really proud of them. So that is your boys.
I'm Coach Byrne. This is my 5th season with the girls varsity soccer team at Johns Creek, and and we were only scored on in 3 games. So to say this group is special is an understatement. They came out every day, they fought, they gave everything that they had, and ultimately this group brought home the stadium sports, but girls soccer's first state championship. So again, to say I am proud is an understatement, but I can't talk too much about that because there's a good chance I'll start crying again. So, but we had so many accomplishments, and I cannot thank these girls enough because there were days that I know they didn't want to come out the Sunday after spring. Good Lord, that was a struggle. You know, Mondays, days after game where they're just exhausted. But they came out with the best attitude, and they came out with this drive and this desire, and it was incredible to watch. And they came out in a state championship game against a team, both Final Four and state championship scenes, and you do so much more than anybody ever realizes. Thank you for all the other coaching staff, Coach Sweat with my JV girls, Coach Bowler with the varsity boys, Coach Crace, Coach Dahlhauser, Mahdi, all of them. It definitely takes a village, and having all of us in it together is a blessing to have someone on your side. And I do have to thank Sydney Ross, Lindsay Simmons, Dia Kerwell, and Lily Myers. Having a season like this, it is extremely difficult to choose awards. Clearly everyone played an important role, and everyone definitely helped in the accomplishments that we achieved this year. And so it's